So there's been a fight brewing for a while now over Texas textbooks. And you have, at this point, the Texas State Board of Education and the textbook makers clashing about some of the material. So there's both good and bad news about the textbooks being approved. I do think, though, that the bad news outweighs the good news. So first, let me give you the good. The good is this, quote, much problematic material had been removed from the proposed textbooks, including climate change denial and cartoons comparing beneficiaries of affirmative action to space aliens. There was also an attempt to make clearer that slavery was the primary cause of the Civil War. Thank you for that. And revising passages that had promoted unfair negative stereotypes of Muslims. So they went back and said, we can't really say all these horrible things about Muslims. Soften it up a little bit. So that's the good news, and we should be happy about that. But at the same time, at the last minute, the textbook makers slipped back in a bunch of ridiculous stuff, including this, quote, references to Moses as an influence on the Constitution and the Old Testament as the root of democracy. I can't take it, man. I can't take it. Why are there partisan political hacks who don't know anything making decisions about stuff that your kids will be taught? That's supposed to be factual and evidence-based and educational. The whole purpose of education is let's teach you something. To teach somebody something, it has to be something real. It has to be, hey, this is how the world works. Hey, this is history. This is math. This is science. You name it. But we have brazenly, openly political operatives that are just like, no, we would like to do propaganda and brainwashing. And then they turn around and look at the liberals and the progressives and go, why are you guys brainwashing the kids? How dare you? We're not brainwashing anybody. You're brainwashing people. You just said that Moses was a founding father. Make it stop. Make it stop. The thing that's so scary is that this is no different than what Muslim fundamentalists do. This is exactly what they do. We did a story recently about how in Taliban-controlled areas and ISIS-controlled areas, they got rid of evolution. Like, all we're going to teach is creationism. All we're going to teach is based off of our religious doctrine. Well, that's what these guys want to do, and thankfully we've come far enough where they can't totally do that, but they slip it in whenever they can. They go, okay, Moses, founding father. Okay, creationism should be taught alongside evolution. They want to bring the country backwards. They want to make us more ignorant. They want to take their political beliefs and superimpose them on the upcoming generation. Here's the problem with that. Their beliefs are not based on facts or reality. So, in essence, what you're doing is you're taking a generation and handicapping them. How is this younger generation supposed to get the inevitable patents in science and medicine and technology if they're worried about Adam and Eve? How are they supposed to do that? How are they supposed to do that when they don't know that it was more the Greeks who came up with democracy than the Old Testament? The Old Testament, it would be a theocracy to go by the Bible or to go by a holy book and use that as your political system. And I know another group of people who want to do that. They're called jihadists, people who want a religious system. You're just a Christian version of jihadists. No, you can't do that. You know what this reminds me of? It reminds me of the painting that so many conservatives love. The painting of, like Ronald Reagan and Jesus at the signing of the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence. Because it's this uniquely made-up American idea, this conservative narrative that's total bullshit and is totally not factual. Look, if you want to believe all these things, whatever, you can believe whatever you want to believe. I'm not the thought police. Of course you can believe things that aren't true. Anybody can. But what we're asking is that you don't put it in the classroom. You don't mislead and do propaganda and brainwash the kids. You have to give them a shot at having a life that's actually based on rationality and that they can navigate their way through. Don't handicap them from the beginning with your nonsense.